Hey guys, welcome back again to another Zeal cigar review, and today I'm going to be giving you 5 Maduros that I recommend the most for people who are transitioning from lighter cigars into maybe sweeter, darker, more robust Maduros. All next on the Zeal cigar review. Hey, really quick, if you haven't heard yet, we actually have a podcast. Go ahead and check out the podcast. The link is below in the description, as well as all our social media links. All those things are down in the description below. But today, we're talking about maybe some of you guys out there that are transitioning from lighter cigars like Connecticut, Habano wrappers, maybe even Candelas. You've never really smoked a Maduro before. Probably because you heard that Maduros are stronger cigars, and that's not necessarily true. It all has to do with the blend, and a lot of times Maduros are sweeter cigars and have a lot more flavor to them than their predecessors that are either Connecticut or Habano wrappers. Now, let's just say this. A wrapper leaf can produce up to 70% of the flavor of the cigar. So that's why Maduro wrappers, because they're aged a little bit longer, they can actually produce a lot more flavor. Now, let me just say this real quick. You might be thinking to yourself, well, some of the lighter cigars that I've had, some of the medium-bodied cigars that I've had, have both had pepper in it that I've not really enjoyed. Now, that's true of some Maduros as well. That's true of many different cigars because it has to do with the blend. But these 5 cigars are going to be like 5 transitional cigars, I think, that can really get you into smoking more Maduro cigars in a way that's not assaulting your palate, but more like transitioning your palate. So let's start off with the very first one and why. So here's number 1. Number 1 is the trusty old Brick House. Brick House Maduro is one of the easiest transitional Maduros, if you would. It doesn't really produce a tremendous amount of pepper or be very, very complex. It's got some nice cocoa notes, some nice woodsy, nutsy stuff in there as well. I can't remember if this is the one or the natural is the one that has more of a nutmeggy one. I'd have to smoke them both back to back and tell you. But I have reviewed this before, and you can actually go find that somewhere on our channel. But I like this because it's more of a budget stick, and it's really, really, really got a lot of quality burn, draw, flavor for the price point, and it's a great transitional Maduro. So this is where I would start if you're going to start transitioning into Maduro cigars. I start with a Brick House Maduro. That's number 1. Number 2, boom. Number 2 is Asylum 13, okay? Now, here's where we kick it up a notch. But I'm going to tell you why I think you need to start kicking it up a notch, even for the other ones that maybe not be as strong as this cigar. What you want to do with your palate, once you have a baseline for Maduro cigars, which I think actually the Brick House is a very good baseline, what you want to do is test your limits quickly to see if that's a little bit off of your scale of what your palate can take. So this is a little bit more peppery than the Brick House, but it's not extreme amount of pepper. So this is the Asylum 13. It's beautiful. It's dark. It's got some nice rich cocoa and coffee notes on there that I think is really, really good, as well as some nice leather notes in here that might creep up on you. It does have, I won't say a generous amount of pepper. I'll say it's more of a medium pepperish cigar, where the pepper's probably at a 5, maybe a 6 for some people on this one. For me, it'd actually be probably a 3 or 4. It's not significantly peppery, but you do want to test the limits of your palate for the second Maduro cigar. Just by nature, you can see what you can take as far as pepper and what you actually like. You'd be surprised. A lot of guys like pepper in their cigars. I'm one of them. I just don't like a tremendous amount of pepper, and this has the right amount of pepper. So that's my number 2. All right, my number 3 cigar is, of course, the CAO Brasilia. I absolutely love this cigar. This is actually one of my favorite cigars that I've been smoking for years now. I cut my teeth on Maduro cigars very early on in my cigar journey, and if you're one of those guys who's been smoking maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe you're ready to cut your teeth on Maduro cigars. This would not be a bad one for you to even try, by nature of the fact that it's got more of a sweetness to it than it does pepper. I'd say the pepper on this one is actually maybe just slightly under the Asylum 13 that I showed you before, but it's got some really, really rich, beautiful notes. The smoke is dense, and it's always a winner for most guys that like stronger cigars. But it's not necessarily a stronger cigar, but it is a great transitional Maduro cigar. A lot of people mistake this as a very, very, very strong cigar. I actually think the Italia by CAO is a little stronger than this one is, and this is actually more sweet. I actually think the new CAO BX3. I think that's stronger and pepperier than this one. So this is another great transitional Maduro cigar that you definitely want to try out if you're transitioning into Maduros and you never smoked them before. So make sure you try out the CAO Brasilia. Camacho Triple Maduro. The first Maduro cigar that I ever fell in love with. This was actually far back in the day, really early on in my cigar smoking journey. I was smoking the original Camacho Triple Maduro, which is really kind of the CLE Maduro, if you would, or Christian Arroyo's thing. But this blend is not bad. I still smoke this quite often. I actually do enjoy it. It absolutely has changed since the Arroyos. But I will say that as you're transitioning, if you want a Maduro wrapper, binder, and filler, that's what they call it, a triple Maduro, you definitely want to check it out. You would think it'd be so much more stronger than it is, but it's not an absolute, like, strong, blow-you-away Maduro. And it's a really good one to test your palate on if you're transitioning from lighter cigars into darker cigars. So the triple Maduro is another great one you definitely want to check out. My Father Le Bijou, 1922. This is something special of a cigar. In fact, I remember getting into the cigar industry, I think back in 2015, and I remember hearing about Cigar Aficionado's Cigar of the Year for 2016, and this was a cigar. And I can tell you, as a Maduro cigar, it is primarily such an elegant step into Maduros that I think it's where maybe a lot of guys want to step and want to get into it. Very creamy, very cocoa-y, very like espresso notes. I mean, it's very, very good. And it is elegant in everything from the footband to the band itself. It's really elegant to the torpedo that you have. The box press torpedoes, not a lot of box press torpedoes. And it's really kind of nice on the palate. It's smooth, it's creamy, and it's just really done right by my father. So that would be my second runner-up to the first Maduro I think that everybody should try. But this is a great transitional Maduro. It will not assault your palate. I think you'll really thank me for actually trying it. So if you want to get into Maduros, make sure this is on the list. So those are the 5, but I got an extra bonus one for you real quick. This is actually my favorite Maduro to actually surprise people with, because not a lot of people have heard about it, and particularly in main retail shops. And so when I bring this out and I hand this out to them and they smoke it for the first time, they absolutely are shocked at the flavor, the value, and how good the cigar actually is. It's medium price-wise, but it's full of flavor and full of body, and this is my bonus favorite one probably to recommend to people that have been smoking Maduro cigars for a long time and wanted a cigar that would literally change the game for them in Maduros, and here it is. It is the Tabernacle by Foundation. This cigar is absolutely unbelievable as far as change, transition, and flavor. I absolutely think that you got to try this one just for the sake of how complex it is. A lot of Maduros are maybe 2 or 3 dimensional. This thing's like 7 dimensional. It takes you into a whole nother universe, baby. I really like this. The ornateness of it, I like how beautiful it is. The smell, the notes you get off here are more unique than the average boutique, even Maduro, and it's done very, very well. So if you've not tried the Tabernacle Maduro, you definitely want to try it. So make sure you check this one out as well as my bonus round. Well, boom, there it is, guys. That's my 5 Maduros plus 1 that you can try out for yourself as you're transitioning from lighter cigars, maybe into stronger cigars, into Maduros if you've not smoked those. And with that said, guys, I'm out of here like last year. Peace.